April, then-President Donald Trump made a big promise about trade agreements. He announced that he would secure new trade deals with over 50 countries within 90 days, and temporarily pause high tariff rates until then. The goal was to provide relief to American businesses and strengthen global trade relations. However, now that half of that 90-day period has passed, the situation looks quite disappointing. The Trump administration has very few solid results compared to its bold claims. The Trump administration is facing disagreements in trade talks with many countries, causing negotiations to stall. The main reason is that each country has its own economic interests and demands, which they are not willing to compromise on easily. Some Asian countries which seemed eager to make trade deals, like Vietnam and India, are also firm on their demands. This means that even though these countries are interested in increasing trade with the US, they are not ready to back down on certain conditions to protect their economies and industries. Vietnam is an emerging economy and wants to strengthen trade ties with the US. However, it will definitely want some concessions to protect certain industries from American competition. On the other hand, India is also a large economy and a big market for American products. But the Indian government is sensitive about protecting its domestic industries and farmers' interests. Therefore, in any trade agreement, it will prioritize its own conditions. This situation shows how complex trade negotiations can be. It's not just about lowering or raising tariffs. It also involves many other issues like intellectual property rights, labor standards, environmental regulations, and agricultural subsidies. Every country remains firm on its stance on these issues, making it difficult to reach an agreement. Last week, during a trip to the United Arab Emirates, Trump claimed that 150 countries want to make deals with him. However, this number seems very large because negotiating trade deals with so many countries at once and finalizing them within a deadline is impossible. International diplomacy and trade talks require a lot of time and resources, and each agreement needs thorough discussions to be beneficial for both sides. The Trump administration has not clarified what will happen if trade agreements are not reached by the set July deadline. This uncertainty remains a major concern for the global trade community and markets. Trump himself previously said that if deals are not made, he will impose new tariff rates. This means that tariffs on goods imported from those countries will increase, making those goods more expensive in the US. This move could harm companies and consumers who rely on those imported products. However, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent suggested a different approach. He said the White House might impose regional tariff rates. This would mean that instead of applying the same tariff rates to all countries, they could be targeted at specific regions or groups of countries. More importantly, Bessent also suggested that the administration might reimpose the high April tariff rates on countries that are not negotiating in good faith. Good faith means that those countries are not engaging honestly or constructively in talks, or are sticking to their demands without being willing to compromise. In such cases, the higher tariff rates could be applied again. Meanwhile, there are some optimistic voices from within the Trump administration. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett claimed that some new deals could happen in the next 2 weeks. This is a significant statement, as it shows the administration is still trying to achieve some concrete results before the July deadline. However, this claim also seems like a hope given the past failures and the ongoing complex negotiations with other countries. It will be interesting to see if any major trade agreement actually emerges in the next 2 weeks, or if this is just another statement to maintain some confidence among markets and stakeholders. Experts believe that the pressure of this deadline is not just on foreign governments, but on both sides. The reason is that tariffs don't only harm the countries they are imposed on, they can also damage the American economy. Trump's promise of 50 deals in 90 days was very ambitious, but this news shows that trade talks are not so easy. Progress with countries like India and Vietnam is slow, and tariff uncertainty is increasing economic concerns. What do you think? Will any major deals happen by July, or is this just part of political pressure?